Hey guys, how are we today? I I couldn't find a right song to play today, so we're not having any music or any countdowns. How about that? well, I missed you guys last week. I had a feeling, which I'm not going to talk about it too much because Erin, she does not even hang about the dental stuff, but I had a feeling field, um, and it bothered me all week. And then I had some issues with my health insurance and getting some medical supplies I needed. But I wanted to thank you guys for that too. I made a on my prayer request post last week. I asked you guys for prayers for my insurance issue, and as soon as I posted that, things started to come through, you guys, and I do have that taken care of now. But I just wanted to thank you guys again for that, and I really, really appreciated it. Hey, Brett, how are you? It's good to see you. And Aaron, how are you? Um, so also, guys, across, let me take the chat off here, and down at the bottom of my screen I still have you guys, that is for update, that's if you have any information about little Emily, you guys. Emily was 14 years old, a San Carlos Apache tribe member who went missing on January 27th, and her body was found, um, we'll just say not in one piece, and on February the 14th, and nobody has been charged in her murder yet. And I have learned so much since we last spoke about her, you guys. I'm going to drop my playlist for Emily down here. I've done 2 lives about her so far, and we really need to do another one, you guys, because I have learned so much about what happened um in one video that I watched. This man said, he said the 18 months before her death were pure hell. So that describes what this baby went through even before her death, you guys. And she was trigger warning. She was SA'd around that time, about 18 months before her death. And that's why she was the one that was sent away. And so that's why she was in the group home in the first place. And so more stuff is coming out about that. I've learned a whole lot more about it, you guys. So we do really need to talk about her again. And even just this morning, when I looked up something about her, they said that the it wasn't even sent into the prosecutor's office because people were like, well, why wasn't the perpetrator charged? And they're saying that it wasn't even sent in to be considered to be charged. So that's a problem. That's a big, big problem. And so hopefully we can discuss that next week. Because I still want to find some more and put it all together. And then the last time we were here, our very last live stream, before my break last week, we spoke about Lori Page, remember? And her dad has been charged with her murder. And I was able to find the arrest affidavit right after we got off here. And yeah, Heather Brat, really, really bad. You know, about Emily, yeah. And the tribe has put some blame on the group home, and the group home, well, so far, what they've looked into about the group home, they said they did everything they were supposed to. So I really don't know. It's passing the buck, as they'd say, I reckon. So yeah, not good at all. Um, so, but who knows if who committed that SA against her? Who knows if they weren't also involved in her death? You know, so that needs to be very thoroughly investigated, in my opinion. Yeah, but so then I was able to find the arrest affidavit for Lori Paige's quote unquote father after we left here last time, and it's 66 pages. And that baby was done absolutely wrong before her death, too, you guys. So awful. And so I went through that too after last time, and it's just disheartening, guys. You know how it is. That's why I left the uh, yeah, it's just awful. And that's why I always leave off here at the end with a good story, so that we can remind ourselves that it's not all bad all the time. You all feel me. um, but today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about was that there has been, yeah, Erin says she was failed by everyone, all of them. Yep, yep, I feel that same way, Erin. Both of them, Lori and Emily, were. Hey, Debbie, it's so good to see you. Busy, busy girl. Hey, MK, how are you? It's good to see you too, buddy. Um, So today what I wanted to talk to you guys about was, I don't know if you've been seeing about how there's been talk that there's a serial killer in New England now, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that word or not. So sometimes I'll say SK just so that we don't get flagged, or they don't uh put us in jail or anything, you feel me? um so sometimes we'll say that, maybe. But there's been, okay, when I first started looking into this last week, there were 8 that they were considering that might be all done by the same person. And but then yesterday, I saw that they had added like 3 more to the list. So now there could be as many up to 11. But guys, what I want to say and why I'm here today is that, if you put those words, New England serial killer, it's salacious, right? And I think that that's what's being done here, perhaps, because the ones that I'll go through them with you guys. But one of the um one of the law enforcement officers, he said they're more than faces on a screen, and that's what I put in my title. And he said they were all daughters and mothers and sisters, and there is one male too that's in that list, and they all had families. And well, even yesterday, the one that I saw that they might have added to the list, I think, was just like, some man was shot by another man. It was like a uh a disagreement. So I didn't even involve that one in my list. But I thought, hey, hippie chick, how are you? It's good to see you. Um So I thought that I would just go through them all with you guys, and that we could make our own decisions. And if nothing else, that it would get their stories out a little bit more, because there's 2 women that could be a possibility on one of the unidentified set of remains. And those women have been missing. One has been missing since 2019. So even if we could just talk about them, and get their story out, and um, I think that would be good, even if they were done by the same person or not. Hey, Teacup Kraken, how are you? It's good to see you. So first, I'll show you guys the first video that I saw. That the very first place that I saw about all of this. Okay, let me come back. I'm still I'm still getting used to Restream too, guys, so it might take me just a minute. Oh, I also wanted to tell you guys that at the top, if anybody wants to join me, there's the link. And I've never had any guests on Restream, but we'll figure out how to do it. Everybody is always welcome. Okay, now let me get us to, yeah, there we go. and then I'll come back and make it bigger.
In the last 2 months, 7 bodies have been found around New England. And while law enforcement is not connecting the cases, people online have other ideas. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward joins us live in Brockton. Bob, the talk is getting loud enough for police to address these rumors.
Rachel, more and more people online are paying attention to this. They are concerned that some or all of these cases might be connected and that a serial killer might be striking in New England. In some corners of social media, like Facebook, the idea that a serial killer could be on the prowl in New England is getting more popular. This Facebook group, New England SK, has nearly 9,000 members. And in other forums, people are posting their concerns.
I had to tell you guys right quick that now that group, so this is the first thing that a lot of people heard about it on this, but now that group has like 80,000 members, I think. I haven't looked at it yet because I like to look on my own a lot about cases that I want to cover and not let things persuade me at first, and if there's something I can't find, then I'll look there, but I know you guys will feel me. So that's what I'm talking about, you guys. It sells, sells subscriptions and things like that too, so we just have to keep all that in mind.
Concerned that some or all of the bodies recently found in New England might be connected to each other. Since the beginning of March, 7 bodies have turned up in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Some of the bodies are unidentified remains. The bodies discovered in Groton and Killingly, Connecticut, are close to a Rhode Island case. So far, law enforcement is not connecting the cases. However, the talk online has grown so loud that recently Groton, Connecticut police issued a statement that said in part, regarding references circulating on social media about incidents in the state of Rhode Island, we currently have no information connecting those events to any of the incidents in.
That's what all of the police in each of these places, that's what they're all saying so far. And in Groton, it wasn't at this time, it hadn't happened, but the remains they found there, when we get to her, we'll talk about her, but her roommate is arrested for her murder now.
In Groton. Here in Massachusetts, the discovery of a human skull in Plymouth and another set of remains in Framingham is also being looked at. In the late 1980s, a serial killer struck the New Bedford area. 9 women murdered, 2 missing. Author Maureen Boyle covered the case at the time and wrote a book about it. She is skeptical that a new serial killer might be at work right now.
Just because you have bodies found in a variety of places in New England, that does not mean that there's a serial killer on the loose in the area.
Boyle is concerned that online speculation can hurt people.
This is not a game. These involve real people, these involve real families. This is serious business.
I checked on the 2 Massachusetts cases. On that body that was found in Framingham recently, the district attorney's office is saying a case is under investigation, but it does not appear that person was a victim of foul play. Now, as for the remains of the human skull that was found in the woods of Plymouth, the Plymouth County DA's office says that case remains under investigation. Reporting live from Brockton tonight, I'm Bob Ward for your local station.
Now, I will have to disagree with them about some of the ways that they're saying that the bodies, there's no foul play. Like, I don't know how a person could end up found in a brush fire and it not be, no foul play. So I will say that. And there's no cause or manner of death for a lot of these either. So I just wanted to show you guys that at the beginning. That's the first thing that caught my eye, and then that's what made me start looking into everything. So the first, and I'll have to look at my notes sometimes, guys, because usually it's just I have one victim and one incident, but on these we have a lot of victims and a lot of incidences. So I'll have to refer back to my notes a little bit on this one. So the first one that they're saying is could be a possibility is 35-year-old Paige Fannon. So let me show you guys her. She was beautiful. I looked at her LinkedIn, and if it was her that I found, she graduated cosmetology school in 2011, and before that, so she had a really good work ethic, because before she became a cosmetologist she was an assistant, a cosmetology assistant, a beautiful girl. And from 2011 all the way up to the present she has been working as a cosmetologist. And what I didn't understand about this, you guys, oh, and I got to tell you guys too that when I looked at her obituary, her she has had this one of her friends she's had since the 4th grade, and she was just talking about all that they had went through and all they'd done together and stuff like that. And I don't have any friends since the 4th grade, so I thought that was really sweet. And her sister is speaking up for the family, and it was Paige was her older sister. And let me tell you what her aunt Melinda also wrote on her obituary, because I thought this was really sweet. She said, "My loving niece Paige was like the most beautiful flower in a vase, lovely, soft, and delicate. Yet she could always liven up the room with her words and laughter, and if the music played, she danced just like a star. Paige will shine forever in our hearts and in our memories. May those loving memories bring us peace, comfort, and strength. Until we meet again, your Aunt Melinda." And then I wanted to tell you guys what her younger sister Jade wrote too. She said, "Oh, Teacup Kraken, really? That the lady, that's the one where I think it's the third one that we'll get to. A lady was found at Ledford Cemetery." Yep. Yep, the link is pinned at the top if anybody wants to join me. You'll have to let me know in the chat so that I can figure out how to let anybody up. Um, but so I wanted to tell you guys what her sister wrote too. She said, "My Paige, my older sissy, my best friend, I truly don't have any more words to try and describe the pain I feel. I know you wouldn't want me sad, but your emptiness hurts. You are the most amazing protector, and I will never forget that. We have gotten each other through some of the roughest and hardest moments. My, um, and I'm grateful for that. Your beautiful soul and spirit shall shine brightly for eternity until we meet again, beautiful. Your JD." And I know, MK, it looks really cool, doesn't it? I've only seen a few pictures of her, but it was always real bright and pretty like that. So now let me tell you guys what happened to Paige. And what I didn't understand, you guys, was that she was reported missing. She was reported missing one day before. Let me find the exact dates, you guys, because I don't want to tell you wrong. She was reported missing on the 4th, March the 4th, but she was actually seen a day after. I'm not sure where she was seen, but she was seen on the 5th. And then on the 6th, Wilton Police Department in Connecticut, they contacted Norwalk officers, and they were asking them to use their drone because Paige's clothes and some of her personal belongings were found on the riverbank. And so they started looking, and they unfortunately found her, and they said that the river was flowing really rapidly because there had been a lot of rain the night before. And so she is included in the list. And that's all I know, you guys. A lot of these places, I couldn't find a whole lot. I mean, a lot of these cases, yeah, I couldn't find a whole lot. Yeah, Jen, they're saying it could be up to 11 now since I looked yesterday. Yeah, and so this was the beginning of March the 6th, and so yeah, a little over 2 months. Yeah, well, not even 2 months. Not even 2 months. Yeah, I love you too, Trista. We understand. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a great day. Okay, so now the next one on the list, you guys, is unidentified remains. And it was actually the same day, so 3/6 also, and it was 180 miles from where Paige was discovered. And a man was reportedly looking for deer antlers. It says between exits 13 and 15 near Pilgrim Pride Apartments on South Street in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And so they and it's very little remains that I think that they found so far. Actually, all that they say is that it was a skull that had been there for a long time, and the nasal and jaw portions were missing. They say that it could have been there as long as 3 to 5 years. And the last that I heard, they hadn't, of course, no cause and manner of death, and they haven't figured out who it was. But there is two women that they believe, that two women in the area that they believe could be that it could be either of them, and I wanted to tell you guys about them. Let's watch this video. Oh, and also, you guys, at the bottom, I'm going to put a number that you can call if you have any information about any of these. I'll change it through so that and a lot of these, you guys, I couldn't find on YouTube, so we're having to listen through the news apps, and you know how they do us with the dang with the commercials. So let me see. Let me get us back to this. So this was in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I don't know if I told you guys that.
Two missing women on the South Shore. Police recently found what may be a human skull in the woods of Plymouth, and now these families are left waiting to find out if it could be their loved one that was located. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward is live in Plymouth. Bob, you've covered both of these cases for years. You can only imagine what a painful time this is for those families.
Carrie, it really is a brutal time for both of these families. Now they're hearing about the discovery of a human skull in the woods here along Route 3 in Plymouth. And for both families, they're just holding their breath, waiting for news. Sandra Kriso of Hanson, Britney McCormack of Hanover, two South Shore women who vanished without a trace years ago. Their cases back in the spotlight after what appears to be a human skull was recovered in early March in woods off Route 3 in Plymouth. According to police reports, a man found the small, discolored and jawless skull on March 6th while looking for deer antler. Late last week, law enforcement returned to the woods looking for more evidence. Has anyone in law enforcement talked to you about this?
I haven't talked to anybody.
Lena McMahon is the daughter of Sandra Kriso. She disappeared from her home in Hanson 5 years ago. Do you think this could be your mother?
I'm not sure, Bob. Obviously, anytime remains are discovered, the scenario...
We're going to watch another video with her in it. And this is one that if there is a serial killer, I really don't think that she's part of it. I think that hers was more with something to do domestically. But I'll tell you guys more about that in just a few.
Runs through your mind, the what ifs, Could it be? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm always hopeful for resolution one day, and we just have to maintain positivity and keep the faith that she will be found.
And it's very overwhelming. It's still a lot to process.
Summer McCormack is the sister of Britney McCormack. She was last seen on July 6, 2021, visiting her mother's house. Police have searched for Britney. Her family now offering thousands of dollars in reward money, but there's no sign of Britney. News of the skull's discovery bringing mixed emotion.
I do, hopefully have my fingers crossed. It's not the greatest feeling in the world. I've came to the conclusion that it is most likely a definite possibility that I'm probably never going to see my sister again. But it also, I still have hope. I really.
And what's really sad to you guys is her sister that she's talking about, Britney. She had a disability or a different ability, like we say sometimes, and it would have made her more prone for people to take advantage of her. So I'll tell you guys about that too.
I really hope that my mom ends up with closure.
Well, the skull that was found here in the woods of Plymouth have been sent out for analysis and hopefully identification as well. Now, we have some information about those new rewards that are being offered in the McCormack case. We have that up on our website at boston25news.com.
So the first possibility was Sandra. We saw her daughter speak for a minute, and Sandra Kriso, she was last seen on 8/7 of 2019. And I want to show you guys a little bit more about her. She was, it was her son-in-law. Her son-in-law had taken her to get her car fixed, I believe, and he brought her back home. And the last time that she was seen on camera was at a gas station stopping to pick up smokes, I believe. And so let me read this to you guys. It says, so she is brown hair and blue eyes, 5'9", 125 to 30 pounds. And it says, when a surveillance recording shows her getting out of a family member's car, going into a Cumberland Farms to buy cigarettes, and then being taken home at about 5 p.m. Sandra had recently moved to Hanson from Hughesneck, and her daughter says she thinks someone in the neighborhood is withholding information that would help her case. Kriso does not have a cell phone or a computer, so I guess they found her cell phone and hasn't accessed her bank account since her disappearance. Detectives searched the nearby woods, went door to door talking to neighbors, and reviewed surveillance video and came up empty. Her family says this is totally out of character for her. If you have any information, and then it says to contact Massachusetts State Police. And across the bottom of my screen right now, oh, hey, Skippy, how are you? Good to see you. But across the bottom of my screen right now, I found the number that you can call if you know anything about Sandra or Britney's disappearance. So let me find the next video that I wanted to share with you guys. It tells a little bit more about Sandra. Her daughter is talking. And when I said her might be a little bit more domestic related, I didn't mean her significant other. I think it might be somebody in her family. She got a sizable inheritance right before this. So I think that this might have something to do with it. That's why I don't think that that if those are her remains, I don't think this would be part of a serial situation. You feel me?
The 54-year-old grandmother was last seen at her house in August of 2019. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward has been following this case from the beginning.
And now, for the first time on New England's Unsolved, Kriso's daughter reveals new information to Bob that she hopes could shed new light on what happened.
There's really no end point of grieving. It's just a cycle that continues.
In 5 years, Lena McMahon has not stopped thinking about what happened to her mother. In August 2019, Sandra Kriso vanished. Police still don't know if Sandra is alive or dead.
They had drones, they had canines, they dug up her basement, they searched pretty extensively.
And there was no trail for her anywhere.
And usually, guys, I would say that the last person, look at the last person who was with them. But in this instance, it was her daughter's husband. And I think that they said around 5 p.m. So surely they've looked into that, but I really don't think that her husband would have anything to do with her disappearance. So that's why I'm saying that. I don't know.
No trail.
Lena tells me she believes her mother was a victim of foul play and that members of her own family know more than what they're saying. In 2019, weeks after Sandra disappeared, Lena and her husband Tim testified before a grand jury. Did you get an indication that they were close to an indictment or close to taking some solid action against anyone?
Yes, from my understanding in 2019, they were pretty close, to making an arrest.
But no one has ever been arrested. Lena tells me 2 years before Sandra's disappearance, Sandra's father died, leaving behind a substantial estate that included up to $1 million in gold bars.
It's destroyed our family in more ways than just one.
Amanda McCann is one of Lena's cousins.
There was a huge rip in the family concerning inheritance money.
Hey, Neat Noodles, so good to see you. How are you? I'd forgotten about that, you guys, and I just watched this video again this morning. I've forgotten that her daughter and her son-in-law had testified testified at a grand jury, and they said that they were close to that was 2019, and that's 6 years ago. Wonder why they still haven't made an arrest. Neat, we're talking about the different instances they're trying to attribute to a SK in New England. And the first one was 35-year-old Paige, and she was found in the river, and then on the same day, so this was also March 6th, some unidentified remains were found, and it could be there's 2 women that have been missing, and this is the first lady that's a possibility, Sandra Kriso, and then we have one more to talk about after this.
It's money. It's been an issue since 2017, I'd say.
And I think she was a victim. I think she was targeted for something she didn't have.
Which is money.
Which is money.
Tim McMahon was the last person to see Sandra. On August 7th, 2019, he dropped her off at her house after taking Sandra's car to a local mechanic. On the way home, Sandra stopped for cigarettes. These are the last images of Sandra Kriso. How was Sandra the last time you saw her when you were talking to her? Did anything seem off with her?
Nothing extremely off.
The next day, Thursday, Sandra did not answer Lena's calls. And on Friday, when Lena stopped by her mother's house, Sandra Kriso was gone.
I had a bad feeling initially that something was very wrong because we have a homebody grandmother that normally, is very responsive, now all of a sudden just gone.
Lena grew more concerned when she learned that neighbors heard a loud argument the night Sandra disappeared. And inside Sandra's tidy house, Lena said she found small droplets of blood on the floor and on the walls. 5 years later, Lena and her husband fear the worst. What would be the motive for anybody in your family to do something to your mother?
I believe that somebody thought she had gold, and I think she was targeted, and I don't think they got anything.
Why would somebody do this to Sandra?
I believe it was inheritance. I believe it was greed.
5 years of silence, of not knowing what happened to Sandra Kriso or where she is, has taken a real toll on her family.
I just want answers from my mom, because at the end of the day, she's a person. She's a grandmother. She deserves justice.
The Plymouth County DA told me in a statement that Sandra Kriso's investigation is open. Anyone with information should contact Hanson Police or State Police. So, see, guys, that's why I don't think that
that Sandra, if those are her remains, then I don't think that she would be, it would be one. I think this one is closer to home, you know. Trixie's Creations for you. Thank you so much for coming by. Everybody is really, really nice here, and I think you'll like it. So the other possibility of those remains, you guys, you saw a little bit, is about Britney. Britney McCormack. She is 27 years old, and when she went missing, she had a 5 and a 7-year-old. And let me see here. I have a video of her too. She on 7/6 of 21, she had seen her mom and her brother, and then her family reported her missing in August. And remember, I was telling you guys that let me tell you exactly what she it was called pervasive developmental disorder, PDD, and it says it's a term for a group of developmental disorders that affect communication, social interactions, and repetitive behaviors. It's now included under the umbrella term autism spectrum disorder, so ASD. It says PDD is characterized by differences in how the brain processes information and develops. So Britney had this, and her mama says that she thinks that people could have used that to take advantage of her. And she also had substance abuse disorder. So I wanted to play this video for you guys too. This Boston 25 News, they did a whole lot for both of these. They're a really good source of news in this area. Let me get us through the commercials and I'll come back and get you guys. So the remains that were found on March 6th, these two families are on, I'm sure, pins and needles waiting to find out if it's their loved one. But like I was telling you guys, they only found a skull, I think, and even that wasn't fully intact, unfortunately. So I say it's going to take a really long time to make an identification. Okay, I'm coming back to get you guys now.
New pictures of a Hanover woman who has not been seen in nearly 8 months. 27-year-old Britney McCormack was first reported missing last July. Police have been searching for her ever since. Boston 25's Bob Ward live in Rockland tonight. And Bob, you spoke to Britney's sister today. She tells you they're offering a reward in this case.
Chris, this is a very tough case. Britney McCormack was 27 years old. She disappeared last July, and she used to hang out in this area of Rockland, and that's why police were here this week searching for her. But as time goes by, Britney's family is learning to accept a very grim set of facts.
I do not believe that Britney is alive. I do not believe that Britney is just out here and doesn't want to come home.
Summer McCormack is the sister of Britney McCormack, a 27-year-old mother of two missing since July 6th. On Wednesday, Hanover and Rockland police, along with the Massachusetts State Police, searched Studley's Pond in Rockland, one of the areas where Britney was known to hang out. For a few moments during that search, police thought they might have something. The dogs picked up a scent, but when police looked further, they could find no sign of Britney.
It may be a small area, but to me, it's one.
I wanted to tell you guys too that they said the remains that were found, they could have been there as long as 3 to 5 years. So it definitely could be either of these women. Sandra went missing in 2019 and Britney went missing in 2021.
One big disaster.
Summer McCormack visited Studley's Pond with me on this day after the latest search. It's not easy being here for her. She wants to bring her sister home.
As much as she loved the water and dancing in the water, I know that she would love to just be home with my mom and the kids and with all of us and just be happy that way.
When Britney McCormack was last seen, she was visiting her mother and brother. Summer tells me everything seemed to be okay with her sister. Britney struggled with substance abuse and was friends with many others who shared the same demons. Summer does not know what happened to her sister, but she cannot rule out the possibility that Britney could have fallen victim to foul play. In the meantime, as police continue to search for Britney, Summer and her family are offering a $5,000 reward for information. She's hoping someone that Britney trusted in life will tell them where Britney is right now.
I believe people know where she is. I believe it's more than one person that actually knows where she is. And I believe that they're all very, very scared to talk. We just want my sister back.
Now, police are planning another search for tomorrow, but in the meantime, if you have any information on what happened to Britney.
Yep, and I have that's the number across the bottom of my screen for either of these women. Teacup Kraken, he got something wrong the other day, even though that a lot of the cases that I look into, I don't even bring them on lives or anything, but I've been looking into Kimani, and he just came on live saying that the house had burned down. Her dad is also charged with her death. Another one, you guys, another young teen and her dad charged with her death. But anyways, he said that somebody had taken vigilante justice into their own hands and was burning down the dad's house. And it wasn't. It was where she was found, in an abandoned house that had already been burned down twice. So yeah, he rushes to judgment a lot and doesn't get his facts straight. Yeah, so even though that the remains that were found, you guys, they haven't identified them yet, I still wanted to share about Sandra and Britney with you guys, because their story deserves to get told too, you know. And even if those aren't their remains, or it's not part of a serial killer, at least this has brought their stories back to the forefront, so that's really good. So the next one was on 3/19 of 25, and it's in Groton. The one that was in Groton, unidentified remains of a female 40 to 60 years old were found in a suitcase in a cemetery. Well, they have identified those remains, and it was Suzanne Wormser, and it was her roommate that has been charged in her death. And it was an awful death. It was a murder, an awful murder. And let me find that for you guys, what I have next. They figured out that her remains were actually put there at the, I believe it's called Ledford Cemetery, Colonel Ledford maybe. Were put there in February, but they just found them in March. And she was 58 years old, and it was 68-year-old Donald Koffel that has been charged with her murder, tampering with evidence, and improper disposal in her death. And he was arrested on 4/17. And big trigger warning, you guys. After his third interview with police, he said that he hit her in the head 3 times with a baseball bat and kept her body in the apartment for a week and a half. And then he dismembered her and put her in 2 garbage bags and put them in the dumpsters, and then put her torso at this cemetery. And this is horrible. That's also what they said that you have to look at, guys, is to see if it's really a serial killer, is the cause and manner of death, and then see if the victims are like, in a way. And well, Paige was found in the water, you know, so not anything like this. Or I would say, look at this dude, because he's sick, obviously. But they do need to look at anything else in that area, because this is absolutely awful. And he's being held on a $1 million bond. but wasn't at jail. He's having medical issues, I believe. No, I'm not, Aaron. I'm definitely not. Oh, there it is if you guys want to watch it on your own time. Let me see here. So I don't think that this one is involved either, or should be looped in with the possibility.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here at 4. I'm Kevin Nathan.
And I'm Amber Diaz. We're learning more now about a case in Groton gripping the community. And we do want to warn you the details are disturbing and graphic.
According to court documents, a 60-year-old man confessed to killing his roommate, then dumping a suitcase with her body parts near a cemetery. NBC Connected's Melissa Cooney joins us live in Groton after being in court today. Melissa?
That's right. Today, the court decided to keep holding Donald Koffel on $1 million bond. He's being charged with the murder of Suzanne Wormser, and he's also being charged with tampering of evidence and improper disposal of a body.
The allegations of what is alleged to have done here are significant. I don't know if a proper word is grotesque, violent, and rather serious charges. In that sense, there's a general danger to the public.
It's all those words, dude. Grotesque and violent and all that. You know.
Steve Koffel appearing virtually in court due to severe medical issues.
Just identify yourself just so we're clear.
I'm Donald Koffel.
In the arrest warrant, police say they identified a suitcase with human remains in it mid-March. By mid-April, they got a tip from Suzanne Wormser's sister, concerns that the remains could be Suzanne's because she hadn't heard from her since Christmas. Police say Koffel had previously lived in the area, had left the state, returned, and Wormser was letting him stay with her.
She was such a nice woman, and she never bothered anyone. She gave him a place to stay when he didn't have anything.
Police say they investigated the apartment and found blood on the walls, floor, and on a baseball
she was
bat.
helping
After
him.
a few interviews, police say Koffel confessed.
She was helping him, guys, and then look what he did to her.
His words to police shown here.
Just deplorable. It's disgusting.
Neighbors who wanted to remain anonymous tell us they knew both Wormser and Koffel, and that Koffel would speak with them frequently. They say they can't believe they would see him around and have no idea what had allegedly gone on behind closed doors. Do you feel a level of betrayal if you...
Oh, I do badly.
And Koffel will be back in court on June 10th. Live in Groton, Melissa.
And yeah, you're right. I ain't no holla back girl, but I am from the holla. I'm a holler girl. Oh. Okay, so now the next one that they're talking about is 59-year-old Denise Liry. And I want to read to you guys. This one doesn't have a video. It has a good article that I found that her son tells a whole lot about her. She was absolutely beautiful. She did have some mental health struggles, and I don't want to tell what her diagnosis was because I've only seen that in one place. So she was last seen on September 29th, and then they found her on March the 20th. So, and they found her, it's New Haven, and it's 150 miles from where the remains were found. That could be Britney or Sandra. And then it was 50 miles from where they found Suzanne Wormser in the graveyard, and 30 miles from where Paige was found. So all right here in the same area. Some people were cleaning out brush, and they stumbled upon her remains. So, and her son is talking in this, and he says, I just pray that God brings my mom home, bless him. She had been missing for 2 months at this time, and He says, I'm going to always have her back to the end. Denise was originally from Connecticut, where she grew up with her 4 siblings. Brother Michael is the eldest. We were very close, he told Dateline. I always had a responsibility to make sure my sisters were okay. And as the siblings grew older, they moved and started their own families. Denise settled in Atlanta, and she had 2 children, Joshua, 20, and his younger sister, Morgan, 18. I loved it, Joshua said, of growing up in Atlanta. My mom always kept us in church. And Joshua describes his mom as his best friend. I tell her everything, whether I'm having a relationship or anything that I'm going through. He said, I know she's there to guide and help me. Well, she still is, buddy. She's still there. Joshua said in 2022, his grandmother had a stroke. Oh, look, guys. How cute. And Denise moved back to Connecticut, and her children stayed in Atlanta. She wanted to take care of my grandma and my grandpa. He said, once I graduated, she needed a little assistance, so I moved up here for a little while just to help her. Joshua moved in with his grandparents and his mother in New Haven. He still lives there today. A little over a year ago, Michael Liry also moved back to Connecticut to help and care for his mother as well. And then I got stuck here because I ended up finding out I have a form of cancer, he says. Michael says he last spoke to his sister Denise a few days before her disappearance. They were discussing a variety of things from their mother to his own health struggles. I had no idea that she had so much going on in her mind, he said. Joshua said the summer of 2024 was difficult for his mom. She suffered with mental health and anxiety and really bad depression, he said. A few nights prior to Denise's disappearance, Joshua found her behavior concerning. Around 10:30 p.m., she said she was going out, he recalled. She was like, turn my location off on my phone. He says he reluctantly did as his mother requested, so I tried to look out the window to see who was picking her up, he recalled. Joshua says he couldn't see who was picking his mother up and that she returned home safe later in the night. He added that while his mother was single, he believes she may have been seeing someone. Then a few days later, on the morning of September 30th, Joshua knocked on his mother's bedroom door. He didn't get a response. I was like, okay, maybe she just needed some time to herself, he said. And guys, also about let me come back. I do have a number that we can put at the bottom for about Denise, if you have any information about Denise. I'll put that there too. I think that they hear mental health struggles and they might have not taken this as seriously as they should have. I'm really not sure. But I'll keep reading this. This was the best that I found about her. Okay, maybe she just needed some time to herself, he said. Joshua says he grew concerned when his grandmother's nurse came over. His mother would usually come out of her bedroom to greet the nurse, but Denise was a no-show. The door was locked from the inside so nobody could get in, he said. So I called my auntie, and my auntie was like, call the paramedics to knock down the door. Joshua says he did as he was told. And when the paramedics arrived, they knocked down the door. They was like, nobody's in here, he recalled. But the bedroom window was open. That's when they said it looks like somebody jumped out the window. According to Joshua, paramedics believe Denise used a cable cord to hoist herself out of the window. They also found footprints near the house. Joshua says all of his family came over and the search for Denise began. He says they tracked her phone and it first pinged in Westport, Connecticut. 30 minutes later, it was tracked to a park in New Haven. Me and my brother, he went to one park and I went to another. Denise's brother, Michael, told Dateline. I couldn't go too far because of my illness. I just did the very best I could. Also, he was sick too, guys, and bless their heart. They couldn't find any sign of Denise. The next day, Michael says he reported his sister missing. The New Haven Police Department is investigating Denise's case. She was last seen at her home in New Haven on the night of September 29th and was reported missing by family on October 1st. Well, so in here say their investigation has not indicated evidence of foul play. Oh, I do got a video where the police still say there's no evidence of foul play. It says they were searching parks high and low. They even came to the house asking for her journal because she kept all her numbers in there. He says they looked in an abandoned house in the same neighborhood where they live. I'm not for sure how far they ended up finding her from her house, guys. Joshua says his mother's phone was found on the second day of the search. Her phone was behind a neighbor's house in my grandma's neighborhood. They confirmed her phone was located and said an analysis is still being conducted. Well, hopefully they find some stuff off of that by now. So they're lumping Denise in there too with the possibility of the serial killer, but I just wanted to share her story with you guys too, because either way she's deceased, guys, and if you know anything, please reach out to the number at the bottom. So now that brings us up to 6 days later, and it's Foster, Rhode Island. So it's 90 miles from where Denise was recovered, 50 miles from where Suzanne Wormser was found and her roommates charged, and then 120 miles from where Paige was found in the river. 56-year-old Michelle Romano was found in a wooded area 8 months after her disappearance. And they do say that her death is suspicious. And a few days later, they went to search the house of her last known address after they found her body, and the news talked to him afterwards, and he said that Michelle stayed there as a guest and paid him rent occasionally. And the state police are asking for the public's help. They said if you have they're asking for, if you traveled along Plainfield Pike in February or March and you have a dash camera, they would like you to send in send that into them, and that is the numbers to help with hers. I'm not speaking a lot on her, you guys. Hey, Music City Mom, good to see you. I'm not speaking a lot on her, you guys, because I do want to read a Facebook post. I'm going to leave all these in the description, you guys, afterwards, because there are Facebook groups for a lot of these. And for Michelle's, there is a Facebook group, and her sister left this, and so I wanted to read it to you guys. Hey, Julianne, how are you? It's good to see you. Oh, that was nice of Trisha. We're talking about the possibility of the serial killer in New England. We've spoken about a few so far, and like I was telling everybody, that even though I think a lot of this might be salaciousness, to sell subscriptions and papers and things like that, but I still wanted to talk about each person respectively, and then so we can decide. MK, yeah, that might happen to both of us. My mama says she wanted one, so I bought her one. We haven't gotten it installed yet, but I said, Mama, now you do know that it records what you do too, right? She said, yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, but this is what this was on the Justice for Michelle Romano Facebook group, and it says, and this was on April 15th, and it says, in light of the recent comments being made, we know that Michelle's passing is in no way related to any type of serial killer. We have complete faith in the Rhode Island State Police and our private investigator that the person responsible will be brought to justice sooner rather than later. We would appreciate it if people on social media, news, or other platforms would stop making false statements that our Michelle is in any way the victim of a serial killer. Please stop posting our Michelle's photos and trying to group her in with an alleged serial killer, as that is absolutely not the case. Please respect our privacy as well as our Michelle's. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims and families of a murder or homicide. If anyone has any information regarding Michelle's death, please contact the Rhode Island State Police, the private investigator, or us, and we will pass along the information. Thank you. The family of Michelle Romano. So that's why I didn't. Oh, you're welcome, Julianne. I think that you'll enjoy being here. I have the greatest chatters, greatest chat and friends that come here and hang out with me. I think you'll like it. So yeah, so that's why I didn't even want to show Michelle's photo. And guys, what is that? Is it Crime Online? Or no, not Crime Online. The one where Stephanie Harlow and Derek Levasseur, they do that podcast. I think that's the one that I saw right before I went live, and they were speaking on this. And on their thumbnail, they had Michelle's picture. Yep, I see it. Crime Weekly. And they have Michelle and Denise and Paige. They have their photos on the front of it. And I didn't think that was right, especially knowing what her family has asked. That's why I didn't put any of their photos on my thumbnail. I had the hardest time making a thumbnail or even touching on this case because it, trying to be respectful and things. So then we go on to 4/9 of this year, so less than a month ago even. It's Killingly, Connecticut. And it is less than 10 miles from where Michelle was found, 80 miles from where Paige was found in the river, and 40 miles from where Suzanne was found at Colonel Ledbetter Cemetery. And an unidentified skeletonized male was found on a dead-end road by a body of water. And he is thought to be 25 to 35. And it says estimated year of death, 2024 to 2025. And it says to please contact the Connecticut State Police if you have any information about that. That's about all that I got about that one, you guys. So they're thinking that this could be part of the serial killer too. And he was the only male that I have, that they are grouping into this so far. I will drop the, this is the link to his NamUs profile. And that's really about all that it says on there, guys, about that one. And then let's see here. So let me put the Connecticut. So that's the number to the Connecticut State Police, and that is the case number. Yep, that's the case number. So if you have any information about that, please call that number, and that's the case number that you can tell them about. So then that brings us up to 410 to Framingham, Massachusetts. And this is where 50 miles from where the unidentified male remains were found. Where Michelle Romano was found too, because those were right together. And firefighters find remains near Massachusetts Turnpike fighting a brush fire, and it is near exit 117 in Framingham. And it was about 9:45 p.m. when they got reports of a brush fire. And in the process of putting that out, they found the unidentified remains. And they haven't told us whether it's male or female or approximate ages or how long it's been there or any of that. But the Middlesex County District Attorney, he says the preliminary information indicates that the remains may have been there for several months. Information gathered at the scene does not indicate foul play. That's the one I was telling you guys about. Most of these, hey, YouTube snack car, how are you? You'll get devoured up in here. We be hangry sometimes. Oh, Trisha is the best, guys. She really is. We all love her. So this is another one that I was telling you guys. They say no foul play. I don't know how somebody found off the turnpike like that could just be no foul play. I don't get that. But okay, so now we move to the 22nd. So 8 days ago, right? And we go to Springfield, Massachusetts. And that is where this one is definitely a homicide. They're talking about that one, saying this one definitely is a homicide. And at first she was unidentified. It was a bike path along the Connecticut River, and it's 8:30 in the morning. They get a call for a report of an unresponsive person near the bike path. And it said the woman died shortly after and has been identified as 45-year-old Megan Meredith. So that's the number I have across the bottom of my screen now. If you know anything about Megan Meredith, please call that number. Let me show you guys. I haven't heard about her cause or manner of death or anything, but let me show you guys her picture that they're sharing. She's absolutely beautiful. This is the picture that they have of her. Such a pretty lady. So let me see. I do have a I think that I do have a video for her. I think it's here. Let me make sure. My internet is running slow today, guys. Slow, slow, slow. Let me see here. No, I think that just tells us basically what I've told you guys already. Let me see here. So this was on the 28th, and this is where officials speak a little bit about the rumors. And this was, oh man, geez, that that commercial was loud. All right, here, guys. This is where Meredith was found, and they're going to talk about it for a little bit here.
Says there is no known threat. Local law enforcement is saying it doesn't look like the cases are connected, but social media continues to fuel fear and chatter. The body of a woman found on a bike path in Springfield, boosting online conspiracy theories and web pages about a possible serial killer targeting New England. In March and April, the remains of 8 people, mostly women, have been found in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island.
I think what you have to remember with the internet is
guys, and since they made that, there has been 2 more that some people are saying could be connected, and it was in Chandler Avenue in Taunton, Massachusetts, and so that was this past Friday. And then Sunday we're called to Rocky Hill, Connecticut, and there was a report of a body in the water. And that's basically all I have about the last 2, but this is up to the 8 that they're talking about here.
is there are no guardrails on the comments.
Former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis cautions people not to believe everything they see online.
There's a lot of misinformation, and people really need to use critical thinking skills when they see something spoken about online.
In Narragansett, Rhode Island, police searched a beach with cadaver dogs after a Facebook post alluded to bodies buried in the sand. They found nothing.
There's zero evidence that there's anybody.
I forgot to tell you guys this. Okay, remember that Facebook group that I was telling you guys about when the news first broke about this New England serial killer? It had like 6,000 people, and now it's like up to 60,000, I believe. But there was a post on there, and they said that 6 bodies were buried at this beach, and they said it was very, sounded really credible. But I think this is the video where they tell you guys about it. But it sounded something just like that would happen with the list. You know what I'm saying? And so that is the bad side to these rumors. These rumors do get like cases that we went over, Britney and Sandra, it does get their cases back out there. But for things like this, it's wasting resources. And, this is the bad side when this kind of stuff happens.
Anybody buried.
The Hamden DA says at this time there is no indication that these incidents are connected to each other, or are they a part of a larger public safety threat. And in Plymouth, where a skull was found in March, the DA says the investigation is ongoing, adding, the skull is with the State Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. We urge anyone with credible information to contact Mass State Police or Plymouth Police. Davis says it just doesn't make sense to try to cover up a serial killer.
If you have a serial killer, you get additional resources from the federal, state governments. Frankly, if I had a serial killer or I suspected there was one operating, I'd be telling everybody so I could get as much help as I could.
Now, Davis says Boston police were confronted with a similar situation several years ago when bodies of young men began turning up in the harbor. They determined these cases were not connected and released as much information as early as they could to quell any conspiracies. Live in Cambridge.
And I think that there is one more video that I want to show you guys. There have been Court TV has put out, or Law and Crime has put out 2 pretty long videos about this, about these possibilities. I thought that we could, let me see, they put out one. Let me see here. But there was one, they put out one yesterday. But the one that they put out before that, they had this fella on that was, he was talking about all of the, he was talking about the evidentiary values of everything that we could learn. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So I'll, let me see here. I'll come back and get you guys for that. Hang on just one second. Yep. I'm coming back, guys. I'll never let go. Don't you all forget it. Hey, Tony, how are you? It's so good to see you. I hope you're having a good day. Okay, so this guy, I think it's this guy that is going to
Physics Science Department at the University of New Haven, and also a retired detective to get his take. Thanks so much for coming on here on Sidebar. I think this is the first time you've come on, so I appreciate it.
It is. Thanks for having me, Jesse.
What do you make of this? What do you make of the timing of
I didn't catch that he was a forensic expert and a retired detective. Well, that's pretty good. I thought what he said, this is a few days old. This is 6 days ago. So they have a newer one out now, but I thought what he had to say was really interesting. So I thought we could watch that.
Of the discovery of these bodies, the location of the bodies, what are your first thoughts?
Well, I think first off, finding 6 bodies, finding 6 sets of remains over the course of 2 months.
Possibly 7, by the way. Possibly 7 now.
Yes. Depending on what article you read, the number varies, right? So if we can say at least 6, that's a lot. And they're not in the same area, right? They're Rhode Island, they're, all along the coast of Connecticut. So what does that tell you? Are police being given tips? How are they being told to search? Because this is not something that's being done routinely. So what's directing them to even begin the search in the first place? Is this all part of the same investigative process, right? Is it one set of tips that's leading multiple jurisdictions to begin in the same search effort? Or are these multiple tips from different investigative efforts leading different agencies, and they're all discovering the same thing? And clearly we don't have answers to those questions yet, but those really begin to bear on whether or not we're looking at different offenders engaging in similar acts that we're right now thinking could be a serial killer, or this is in fact potentially a serial killer. We just don't know that part yet.
Do you think the agencies are coordinating with one another, the different local law enforcement agencies?
If they might not have been in the beginning, they certainly are now with all the attention that this case or these cases have had. In a densely populated area like, we are here in New England in the Northeast, the communication can be good, but, there are jurisdictional challenges. There are issues with state lines. There are issues with simply agencies not recognizing that there are similar crimes that happen some distance away that you might not be aware of. So sometimes elevating, crimes like this to the public consciousness has an effect that makes things move forward. And in particular, when you have cases like this, knowing that you have similar crimes in other jurisdictions makes a big difference, because in most cases, what you're doing is you're exploring the relationship.
We've looked at all of them, guys. So the similarities. Okay, let's think. Most of them are women, the ones that they were able to tell at first. But the cause and manner of death, I don't think there's really enough information for them to say that it was all done by one person yet. And we know that Suzanne Wormser, that her roommate was the one that harmed her. So, that one's not the same. I just don't see how they can say. And then, Paige was found. Well, there's 2 that were found in the river so far. And then one was found on the side of the turnpike, remember? And another one was found at the end of a dead-end road, so not in the same type of areas. I guess that the only thing that they're drawing, similarities is that it's all within this area, within like 150 miles of each other, maybe.
Between your victim and your offender. And that's where your investigative leads come from. And that's what you're trying to supplement or support through your forensic testing. When you have a situation like this, where you find a set of remains in a wooded area or wherever it happens to be, you might not even know who your victim is. And so you're surely not going to understand what the potential relationship between your victim and your offender is. And, the mystique, if you will, of a serial killer is there really is no relationship between your victim and your offender. And so a lot of the investigative techniques that you would look to, employ really don't begin because there is no relationship. So knowing that across multiple jurisdictions, you have potentially the same offender can allow you to pool what limited information you have. So you have just that much more to go with.
Is it strange that we don't know at the time of this recording the causes of deaths for all these individuals? I mean, again, and what's difficult about it, there's some unidentified remains. There are some, the bodies that were found in a certain location, others in a different location. But we don't quite know the circumstances surrounding their deaths, the causes of death, the manner of death. Is it strange we don't know that yet? And when would that information be released?
Sadly, this is not surprising in situations where you have, severely decomposed remains. So absent skeletal trauma that would make, the cause of death abundantly clear, you might not know, right? When a body is recently deceased, your ability to make a more thorough examination is much better. And the longer the time elapses between death and discovery, your ability to conduct a thorough examination just isn't there. And so when the remains are skeletonized or closer to that state than they are at the time of death, your ability to make that precise determination just isn't there. So that's another challenge here, because if you can't really determine cause, manner becomes difficult too. Now, medical examiners, face these challenges all the time, and so that's their area of expertise, and so I defer to them and how they make those decisions. But certainly as investigators, we have a role to play in supplying them with information about the scene so that they can make the best decision possible, because sometimes the scene information is valuable to them.
So the scene, guys, when I was telling you guys about the remains that were found that could be possibly Sandra or Britney, they did send cadaver dogs back in there to look for more remains. I don't know if they found any more. And they also collected evidence from the area. So they're not saying what that evidence is, but they did collect more stuff. I believe I heard them, when I was reading about it. I do remember that. So that's good. So even if they can't get a lot from the remains, hopefully around the area they could get more evidence, anyways.
In making those decisions. But no, it's not surprising to me, given for some of the victims, how long was it that they were reported missing, and 8 months later their body was recovered. When you have that kind of time difference, it's not surprising.
That's Michelle, guys. I didn't show her photo, but because her family asked not to, but they're showing it here, and she was a very beautiful lady.
At all. It's unfortunate because it's an investigative challenge, but it's not surprising.
And just for our viewers and listeners, when we're talking about manner of death, we're basically saying is something, a homicide, was something an accident, those kinds of things, different than cause of death, obviously. Now, one of the things that struck me is it possible these deaths are connected? You look at similarities in the victims, you look at similarities in when they went missing, how they were found, the time period, the location, or is the areas where these remains being found, is this just, and I hate to say this, is it just advantageous to dispose of bodies there? These are places where there might be no connection, but assuming there are all crimes, right? People found these remote locations and said, oh, this is a prime opportunity to dispose of remains. I mean, I wonder whether or not that's what could be going on.
You bring up a great question, and this is where my expertise as a forensic scientist and my adherence to physical evidence is really, this is where it's paramount, because it's so easy to look at the idea that, oh, these are wooded areas, and oh, they were looking at the same demographic of victim, and then slip into this notion that it must be a serial killer, or if we find out later that they were all manually strangled, and so therefore it must be serial killer. And I can understand that logical leap that we're making, and I'm not even saying that I wouldn't make it too, or at least I wouldn't consider it as a possibility. But for me, I'm driven by physical evidence, and the only way that I would ever get to that decision is the existence of physical evidence across multiple scenes that would connect a person to multiple scenes. You wouldn't get through it through MO, modus operandi, right? The way that the crime is committed, unless it was so extraordinarily specific that the conclusion was inescapable. But what I'm talking about is, do you find physical evidence, and generally we're talking about biometric information, right? Fingerprints, DNA in a biological fluid, even more specifically, that connects the same person to multiple locations. And I'll say it even goes further than that, because depending on how frequently and trafficked these locations are, imagine if it's a hiking trail. Would it be unreasonable to think that you would have people visiting more than one hiking trail in a densely populated area like the Northeast?
Good point.
Right? And so if what we're doing is we're collecting the garbage around the area where a decedent is discovered, which is exactly what we're doing, would we find potentially the DNA of the same person in multiple locations? And if that DNA is simply being recovered because it's, the DNA from somebody drinking from a bottle, we can't come to the conclusion that that must be that person simply because their DNA is found at multiple sites. We've got to take it one step further. And so in cases like this, we're going to lead with the physical evidence, but we've got to do it with a little bit of caution, that we don't want to over-interpret the physical evidence. We want to make sure we're understanding what its meaning is and what its limitations are.
I just want to follow up on that. How does it work in terms of, let's say, for example, at one of these scenes, they find some sort of biological or forensic material that links to an individual, potential suspect. Is that immediately shared with the other agencies? I mean, how do they have that coordination in terms of what was found at one scene versus another?
Well, yes, certainly that information would be shared across agencies, because if you have, let's say, if we're talking about DNA, if you had an unknown male profile that you had, recovered from an item of evidence, well, now you can recognize, hey,
Neat Noodle says, I don't really see the signatures normally attributed to a serial killer, but I'm no expert. And for years, they didn't think Gilgo Beach was a serial killer. Yeah, that's exactly what I think, too. I just wanted to, that's why I felt like, and I use that in my title, that each victim is not just a face on the screen, because I feel like it's kind of exploitation when, people, I don't really know how to say it, you guys, but that's why I wanted to come and tell you guys about Paige, about who she was as a person, what I could find. And also what makes me sad, you guys, is I couldn't find a whole lot about each person, but I found a story after a video after video about New England serial killer. But I couldn't find a whole lot about the victims or even the crimes, so even, no matter what, at least we got to talk about Paige and Denise and Michelle. Well, a little bit about Michelle. And then we even got to talk about Sandra and Britney. This is a great chance to get their missing persons cases out there farther and wider. And I wish that I saw more people doing that, and then, Miss Suzanne Wormser, I couldn't even find a photo of her, So I just wanted to talk to you guys about that today. I'm definitely going to keep up with it, and there is I hope that you guys, I hope that they don't find more. If it's not an SK, I hope that they don't find more to add to make it more, to make it bigger and more salacious and things like that. Like the one that I was telling you guys, the most recent was in I forget the state, but the name was Pawtucket. Pawtucket was the name of the city. And I just vaguely looked at it really quickly, and it seemed like a disagreement. One man was shot. So that's definitely not like the others, So before we go, you guys, I want to give a shout out to Vanessa today for our happy story. And I'm going to drop her channel link here. Please subscribe up to her, you guys. She posts the most beautiful, she did it every day for a while, and I think she's back at it now, of nature photos. And she tells us about them too. She doesn't just post them. And I think that she made a short the other day too. She is helping out at her church today, so she's not here. She helps me moderate. And also, you guys, I have to tell you, I'm so proud of her. She is in my Discord. Oh, guys, here is my email. If you want to contact me, I'll add you to my Discord too. We have a faith tab, and Trista, she's at work today, but she writes a devotional each day in there for our faith tab, and we all share. What I meant to talk about the Discord was that Vanessa, she keeps up with the weather for us and warns us of things, and I was in my bathroom, me and my mama one day, and she was giving me updates about, don't come out of your safe place. And so she loves the weather. She knows all the technologies and things like that. And guys, she told me to keep an eye out in case that Reed Timmer emailed. She gave me as a reference for a moderator, and she's a moderator there now, guys. He has 1,000,000 and something subscribers, and I'm so very, very proud of her. I had to give her a shout out today and share her channel with you guys. But also, why I had to give her a shout out was she gave us the she, courtesy of Vanessa, is our good story for this week. And it is about, and it'll make you cry, but in a good way. It was, hang on, guys. Video's trying to play, and I'm not ready for it yet. Wait just a second. So there was a tornado in Tylertown, Mississippi, and it was March 15th, 2025. And this man, he's a truck driver, and he was over the road, but his wife and his son were at home. And their house is absolutely gone. There is nothing left. And one of their fur babies was unfortunately deceased in the tornado. And while the mama and son were in the hospital, one of their dogs, he's a lab, I believe, Linus, he was missing. And so 2 days after the tornado, they contacted a rescue, and then on day 10 they contacted a drone operator, and the drone operator found him, you guys, and I wanted to share that with you guys. It's a really cute video. Let me see here. And I was so glad. I watched the drone operator on his channel. That's what Vanessa sent me, but I don't know how they feel about striking and stuff like that. But he was jumping up and down when he found him. It took 7 hours. He was on this drone for 7 hours, and he finally found him. And Linus had a hurt foot, but he ended up being all right. And you guys, I don't know if it's this video or another one I watched, but the mama and the son, I think the only way that they made it was, the only reason that they made it was because they thought to put on motorcycle helmets. So I thought that was a really good idea too. It didn't hurt them. It definitely helped them in this situation.
A tearful reunion between man and his best friend.
And all this loss they had brought me home back.
Tylertown resident Curtis Bush overwhelmed with emotions Wednesday after laying eyes on his dog Linus.
He's dirty, but he's here.
Bush says he hadn't seen Linus for over 10 days after tornadoes destroyed his home. One of the family's dogs died that same day.
My son's in a wheelchair. He's got a lot of broken bones. My wife is real sore. She has broken ribs and sternum.
But Linus was nowhere to be found. 2 days later, the family called the Mississippi Animal Project. The local rescue immediately began a foot search.
It gets to a certain point where you just start to face the reality that you're probably not going to find him.
Nothing came up until Tuesday afternoon when a neighbor spotted the dog a mile away. The rescue then called in drone operator Jason Miller.
And I just happened to see a signature walking on the side of the road, and as soon as I zoomed in and hit the spotlight on him, you can see me in the footage. I just started yelling and going nuts.
Miller says in most cases, pets are usually found in the same area. It would take crews 7 hours to find Linus.
Oh my gosh, is that him?
If Linus was still alive,
He explained it like going to sleep and waking up and your house is on Mars, if you're a dog and get thrown around like that and then your house isn't there anymore, all the smells that and your owner and stuff like that. Heather Bratt says, oh yeah, I was keeping an eye on all those storms. Tylertown was hit very badly. Yep, that's what it looks like. And having to be in the hospital and stuff, and then worrying about your little buddy out there too. I'm so glad they found him, you guys.
there was no house to be found. So it'd be like you waking up the next day on Mars and you don't know where you are.
Oh yeah, this is where I heard it. It was this video.
heart because your house is no longer there.
Bush tells us Linus had some minor injuries. The family is now living in a camper that was gifted to them.
All he's doing is drawing us closer to him.
The experience, a lesson in faith.
We'll rebuild. This isn't going to take us out.
That day was one of my top moments to be blessed and to watch that firsthand.
Oh, bless them. So that was courtesy of Vanessa. So I had to share that with you guys. Thanks so much, everybody, for my moderators and friends for coming to help me today, and for everybody to come hang out and listen to me. Next time, you guys, I definitely want to talk about Emily. There's a lot more about her. We've done 2 live streams about her so far, and again, I'm going to share the this is the playlist that I made for Emily, and I really want her to get justice, you guys, for her murder, and also for the essay that happened to her before her death that nobody was held accountable for. And I just don't know if they can still do that or not, and if it's different perpetrators, but yeah. So I definitely want to talk about her next time, you guys. And don't forget to say your prayers and take your vitamins. And now, guys, we don't have to take so much vitamin D. We can get out in the sun. Springtime has sprung. All right. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.